Hello everyone, my name is Komal and today we are going to learn about it acid, bases and salt. Okay, if we are talking about acid and bases, maybe you ever heard about it, but if you are talking about salts, you also heard about it, right? Like you are using in your daily life. If you want to cook something, you use salt there. So now let's talk about it first, acids there. So there is it. So an acid is a chemical substance that you have to remember. And the taste of acid will be, or the substance which is having acid, sour in taste. It is having sour in taste. So many food items like you have seen at your home, like curd, lemon, vinegar, and orange. So these are the items there. These taste sour. Why? Because they have acid in them. So that's why the taste of these items that we can see that taste as sour. Now what about the acidic substances? So those substances which contain acid in them are we called it acidic substances. So I hope you have clear about it. An acid is a chemical substance which tastes sour. And many items we have seen in at our home, the items like lemons, curd, vinegar, orange. So these items taste sour in taste. And because why they taste sour? Because they have acid in them. And the substance which is acidic, that contain acids in them. Now there's one more point, and this is about the pH here. So any substance which is having less than 7 pH, less than 7 pH, we called it acidic substance. What we called it? Acidic substance there. Okay. Now let's move to the next part. Here it is. So these are things that we have already seen at our home. If we are talking about the first, vinegar, lemon, tomato, grapes, milk, your ant, and your apple here. And if you have noticed one thing, and if you ever tasted, all these food items taste sour. But why? Except this milk here. But why? Because if you're talking about the curd here, and you also get the curd from the milk, curd tastes sour in taste, right? So let's talk about why they taste sour. Because they have acid in them. But which acid? Are all these having the same acid? No, these are not having the same acid. As let's talk about the vinegar. So vinegar is having acetic acid, lemon is having citric acid, tomato oxalic acid, grapes having tartaric acid, and the milk and the curd are having lactic acid there. And if we are talking ant, so now there is a surprising question here. Why we are talking the ant? We don't want to eat the ant here. So why an ant is having formic acid? And what is it related to us? Because if an ant bite, so it sting having a formic acid, and that will inject formic acid in our body. So that's what we are talking about the ant here. Now what about the apples here? So apples are having malic acid, right? So these are the basic things that we all seen at our home, or we have also tasted it, and these taste sour because they are having acid present in them. Now our next thing. So if we are talking about the classification of acids on the basis of salts, so there are two type of acids. First is your natural or organic acid, and the second one is your mineral and inorganic acid. If we are talking about the natural acids, so acids obtained from natural substances, like as we can say that your lemon, orange, your apple. If we get the acid from the natural substance, these are natural, or you can say that organic acid, just like acetic acid, citric acid, and lactic acid. But what about the mineral and inorganic acid? So these are the acid which prepared synthetically in the labs. And the example are hydrochloric acid like HCl, sulfuric acid, H2SO4, and nitric acid. So these are the synthetically prepared acids, and we called it inorganic acids there. So this is all about the acids. And there's one more thing, we can also classify acids on the base of water. If we are talking about the water quantity between the acids, so we can categorize into two parts. One is dilute and the other one is concentrated. concentrated. If the water quantity in the acid is more, so that means the solution is dilute. And if the quantity of water in the acid is less, so that means the solution is concentrated. Now let's talk about the base here. So there it is. So base, and we also can say that alkaline solution. So as we already talked about, acid are sour in taste. So same as base are bitter in taste. And if we are going to touch any base, so they feel soppy to touch. And the substance in which we found the base, we called it basic substances. And there are some examples in which we have found base, like your bleach, ammonia, washing powder, and your soap that you use daily in your life. So there are some examples of base are detergent, baking soda, dry cleaner, antacid base, ammonia, lime water. Now, which base is present in all of these? Let's talk about it one by one. If we are talking about the soap here, so soap having sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide means NaOH. If we are talking about the lime water, so lime water having calcium hydroxide, that means COH. If we are talking about window cleaners, so they are having ammonium hydroxide, right? And if we are talking about milk of magnesia, that is having magnesium hydroxide. So these are the base that are present, or you can say that found in these daily life essential things that we use in at our home. Now the next thing is your neutral substances. So we talked about it, what are the acids, what are the base. Now we are talking about the neutral substance here. So neutral substance is neither acidic nor basic in nature. So these are the example here, just like your water, pure water, table salt, sugar, solution. So these are the example of neutral substances which are neither acidic nor in basic in nature. So our next topic is your indicator. What is an indicator? So indicator is a substance that can be determined if another substance is acidic or basic in nature, or also it can help us to determine the substance is neutral. So the thing is why we are using these indicator, because we cannot taste every object and find its nature. So therefore we use indicators to determine the substance is acidic in nature or basic in nature. So the indicator indicates if we are putting the indicator in acidic solution or basic solution, so it changes their color. And if the color changes, so that means whether the substance will be acidic or basic. So there are some type of indicators that we are going to learn one by one. Let's talk about it. So these are the example of indicators. First is your litmus paper. Next is your turmeric, China rose, and phenolphthalein indicator. But there is a thing between all these four indicators here. These three are natural indicators. These are natural indicators. And if we are talking about the phenolphthalein here, this is synthetic indicator. This is not natural indicator, this is synthetic. So the natural indicator we got from the natural things like your plants, and the synthetic indicators we prepared in the labs. Now let's talk about first natural indicators, and then we will going to learn about the synthetic indicators. So if we are talking about the natural indicator, first is your litmus. So litmus is a natural indicator, we already know that. But from where we get the litmus indicator? So it is extracted from the lichens, and this is a plant. So it is extracted from the lichens. It has purple color in distilled water, and so that means it shows purple color for neutral solutions or substances, because distilled water is your neutral substance. So it shows neutral color in distilled water. But when added to an acidic solution, it turns red. So that means in acidic solution, it turns red, and when added to basic solution, it turns blue. So you have to remember that if we are using a litmus indicator, so if we are using a neutral substance, so that its color will be purple, and if you are adding a acidic solution, it will turn to red, and for the basic solution, it turns blue. So generally it is available as red and blue litmus paper. So we are having two litmus paper, one is blue and another one is red. So if it is turning to red, so that means the solution is acidic, and if it is turning to the blue, so that means the solution is basic. So this is this is all about the litmus paper here. So there are some example of litmus paper. as you can see, tap water. If we are putting, as you already know, we are having two litmus paper. One is red, another one is blue. If we are putting red litmus paper, so there will be no change. If we are putting blue litmus paper, so that there will be no change. So that means the solution is neutral. Let's talk about detergent solution. So if you are putting the red litmus paper, the change is to blue color. And if you are putting blue litmus paper, so no change. So that means the solution is basic, because the last color we are getting here is blue. So that means this is a basic solution. Now let's take an example of vinegar here. So if you are taking a vinegar and we are putting the red litmus paper, so there will be no change. And if we are putting, sorry, there it is, no change. And if we are putting a blue litmus paper, so there will be change to red. So that means the last color we are getting here is red, so the solution is acidic. So from this way, we can find out with the help of litmus paper whether the solution is acidic or basic in nature, or also we can predict the solution will be neutral. Now let's talk about, and our next indicator is turmeric indicator. So how we can use the turmeric indicator? As you know, turmeric at our home is in powder form. So how we can use turmeric as an indicator? So if you want to use turmeric as an indicator, first you have to mix some turmeric in your water and make a paste. And then you have to use a blotting paper and put the paper in your turmeric solution, and after that you have to cut the thin strips of this turmeric paper and dried it out. Then these strips will help us to find out whether the solution is acidic, basic and neutral. So if you are putting the turmeric paper in the solution in order to determine the acidic or basic nature, so these are the things that we are getting as a result here. So here it is. If the solution is acid, if you have put the turmeric paper in the solution, and if the you can say that the substance is acidic, so there will be no change. The paper will remain same, yellow. But if the solution is basic, so it will changes to red. So as you can say that if the solution is acidic, no change. If the solution is basic, we will get the color red there. So that's how we can find out whether the solution is acidic or basic in nature with the help of turmeric. So before using turmeric, you have to make the thin strip with the help of water and turmeric paste. And if we will use these strips to find out whether the solution is acidic or basic, if the color will not change, we are getting the same yellow color, so that means the solution is acidic. And if we are getting the red color, so that means the solution is basic in nature. Let's talk about the next thing is, so there it is, our China rose. So as you already know, all the indicators that we are talking right now, we are getting from a natural things. So same as China rose. So before using China rose, we have to find out how we can use China rose petals to use as an indicator. So first thing you have to do, you have to take China rose petals and kept in a warm water, and a color solution will be obtained. And this solution we will use to used as an indicator and to identify whether the substance is acidic or basic in nature. So here we are. So if we are using shampoo here and a dilute solution, and as you already know, the initial color of shampoo is milky, but if it will change to green color, so that means shampoo is a basic in nature. Okay, let's talk about lemon juice here. So if you are talking about lemon juice initial color, it's dirty white, or you can say that not that much clear. And after putting the China rose solution in lemon juice, so that we are getting the magenta color. So that means the lemon juice is acidic in nature. So for China rose, if the solution is acidic, we will get magenta color. Which color we will get? We will get magenta color. And if the solution is basic, we will get the green color. So same way, you can use the China rose solution as an indicator on any solution, like if we're talking about vinegar here. So we are having a solution, we don't know what is it, we want to find out whether it is acidic or basic. So we will put the China rose solution in vinegar, China rose solution in vinegar, and then it will change to its color magenta. And as you already know, if the color shows magenta, so that means the solution was acidic in nature. And if we are putting some China rose solution in soda water and it changes to its color green, so that means the solution was basic in nature. So if the it is showing the magenta color, so that means it is acidic. And if it is showing the green color, so that means it is basic in nature. So this is about the China rose. So there we have learned about it, three natural indicators: litmus paper, turmeric, and the China rose. How we can use all these three to find out whether the substance is acidic in nature and basic in nature, or also we can predict it's neutral in nature, right? Now let's talk about our synthetic indicator, that is your phenolphthalein here. It is a synthetic indicator and we prepare this indicator in labs. So there are two things. So we have to get the answer whether the substance is acidic or basic in nature. If the substance is acidic or if the substance is basic. After putting this phenolphthalein solution, so if the solution got colorless, like if we have put this solution to the substance that we want to check, so that means if it is colorless, so that means it is acidic in solution. And if we are putting this solution and after that we are getting the pink color, like initially it was pink and then it changed to red, so that means the solution is basic in nature. So there are two things. If we are putting this solution in lemon juice, so the solution will be colorless. And if the solution will be colorless, so that means lemon juice is acidic in nature. What is it? Acidic in nature. Now let's take a soap solution. If we are having a soap solution and if we will put phenolphthalein indicator into that, so it will change to red color. Red color means it is basic in nature. So this is about the synthetic indicator, phenolphthalein indicator. If we are getting the colorless solution, that means it is acidic. If we are getting the red color after putting the phenolphthalein, so that means it is basic in nature, right? So this is all about the indicators. Now our last thing of this chapter here is our neutralization reaction here. So we already talked about it. What are the neutral substances? So the neutral substances are the substances which are neither acidic nor basic in nature. So if we are talking about neutralization substance, so we have to put acid and base together and then we got our two substance. One is your salt and the another one is water. So here it is, and the whole reaction we called it as a neutralization reaction. So they are saying the reaction between the acid and a base is known as neutralization reaction. And what we are getting from this reaction? We are getting salt and water and some heat. There will be some evolution of heat also there. So let's take an example of acid. So we are taking HCl there, hydrochloric acid, and also we are taking base, sodium hydroxide. And if we are putting these two together, so we will get sodium chloride, that is your salt, and H2O, that is your water. So this is your neutralization reaction. When we are putting acid and base together, so we will get salt and water, and the whole reaction we called it neutralization reaction there. Now we are talking about the neutralization reaction in everyday life. Like what's the use of neutralization reaction? So basically neutralization reaction is to neutralize the effect of whether it is acidic or basic. So if we are talking about something which is having more acid, so we will put the base into that, and if we will put the base into them, so the whole situation will be neutralized. So here it is your first example related to your daily life, as you can see here. So indigestion. So if we are having or we are facing a problem of indigestion, so that means we have to take a milk of magnesia. And why we have to take milk of magnesia? Because it is magnesium hydroxide, and magnesium hydroxide means it is a base. And why we are taking base here? Because the indigestion we are having right now, we are having because of the excess acid produced inside the stomach. And if the excess acid is present in our stomach here, so what we have to do it here? We have to take a base. So that means if we will take the base, so it will neutralize the effect of acid. And it will neutralize the effect of acid, so then we will get the relief. So this is about the indigestion. Now our next thing is your ant bite. And you already talked about why we are talking about the ant bite at the first slide. Because when the ants take, it causes a formic acid. And to neutralize the effect of formic acid, we have to rub the moist baking soda. Why moist baking soda? Because baking soda is basic in nature. So if we are putting the baking soda on the affected area, it will neutralize the effect of formic acid. So that's why we use moist baking soda to get rid of the itchiness or the redness when the ant bite. Now, our next thing is your soil treatment. As you already know, sometimes plants do not grow well on the soil. There are two reasons: whether the soil will be too acidic, or maybe the soil was too basic. So, if the soil was too acidic, we treat with the base like your quicklime and calcium oxide, or you can say that slake lime also. So, when we are using these substances here, when the soil is too acidic, so we are using the base to treat it so that the plant grow well. Now, if the soil is basic, like very basic, so we will put the organic matter, and the organic matter release acid and which neutralize the effect of soil. And if the soil will be nor basic nor acidic, it will be neutral, so the plant will grow very well, and they gives us fruits there, right? Now, our next is here your factory waste. As we already know, at this time we are getting so much of waste from the factories, and that contain lot of acids. And if we will allow to flow the acid contained water to our water bodies, so the acid can kill fish and other organisms, and it will affect very heavily by our water bodies. So that's why before dumping the factory waste in your water bodies or somewhere else at the soil as well, so we will neutralize by adding the basic substance. So before dumping the water which contain acid, we will neutralize the water with the base, and if it will be neutralized, so it will not be harmful for the aquatic animals like your fish and other organisms, and it will also not affect the soil as well. So the soil will also remain good and the plants will grow more, right? So this is in this chapter we all learn about it, the acid base, and how we can find out whether the substance is acidic or basic in nature. So then we got to know about the indicators, and then we move to the neutralization reaction, like when we are putting acid and base together and we are getting salt and water and some evolution of heat. And then we also learned about it, how can neutralization reaction help us in our daily life, like your indigestion, ant bite, your soil treatment, and the last is your factory waste.